My name is Hannah. I work as a Research and Development Transfer Scientist at Bioline Reagents Limited. So Bioline Reagents Limited is a PCR company, and my role specifically is transferring the products and ways of testing the products between the R&D department and the quality control department. So usually I would spend most of my time in the lab. I design protocols which test the different batches of reagents that we have, so to ensure that our customers receive consistent batches of their products. So I design QC tests. I also transfer them between the R&D department and the QC department to ensure that the knowledge of the protocol and the reagents is transferred. I also answer customer technicals. So an important part, we think, is that the customers receive the best support that they can. Part of that is their queries and concerns and questions coming directly through to the scientists, who can maybe give them a more informed decision. For my A-levels, I did biology, chemistry and geography, and then I had AS, English Literature and Language, to support it. And then from that I went to Brighton University and I did my BSc in Biological Sciences. And then following that I did my Masters at Sussex in Genetic Manipulation and Molecular Cell Biology. I found it very difficult to choose what I was going to do at university because I felt that was a really big decision which was going to define my life. So I was very torn between, in the end, I narrowed it down to two disciplines. I was focused on law and biology, so not really that similar at all. But I had an interest in both. I'd done some law mooting, and then I really enjoyed my biology A-level. And I think my main decision came when I was looking around universities, and it just, what felt right in the end was the university that did biology, and I wouldn't regret it. I was very worried when I was taking my A-levels. I found that particularly challenging. I wanted to do better than what I was doing. I felt like I was capable of doing better than what I was achieving, and I really thought that was going to be the end and I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted to do or be successful. And then I got bad results and I pretty much thought I was never going to be able to go as far or as high to a manager level or anything above that. However, when I got my grades, I still got accepted into university. I went to university, I worked really hard. I started getting the grades which I felt like I was deserving, and that kind of gave me more motivation and enthusiasm to keep achieving that. And then I ended up doing very well at university, and since then my career seems to be going forward in the way that I want it to go. So working in industry, my hours are pretty regulated due to all the health and safety lone working in the labs. So my general sort of timings are, I tend to go and aim to be at work by about 8:30 and tend to leave roughly about 5. However, obviously when I do different experiments, sometimes they take a bit longer, so sometimes I may stay a bit later to fit all the work I need to do in. It depends. The workload is quite flexible. It never really impedes on my time working, going to see my friends. I can still do that and have a nice work and social balance. Yeah, definitely. I was never really sure what I was going to do when I was doing my A-levels. When I got to university, I decided that was really right for me and I wanted to pursue a career in academia, which would involve doing my undergraduate, my master's, a PhD, a postdoc, and then maybe becoming a professor. So that was my initial plan. However, I found a job at Bioline and it's actually turned out to be a really good decision. I really enjoy working in industry. I find it's a much more stable career than maybe academia would have been, but obviously if you're passionate about academia, that's great, and I can always decide if I want to switch from industry to academia. I can maybe look into doing PhDs and then go down that route. So the options are still open. That it's changing. I don't tend to do the same thing more than once, and you may think that you've covered all the variables which might affect your result, and then you'll just get a completely different result to what you expect thrown out of the blue, and you have to go back to the drawing board and think why you may have got a certain result, or how you can fix it, the protocol to get the best result, and the make the best test. My short-term aspirations is to focus more on the design of protocols, so understanding maybe more of the enzymology and why chemicals maybe react in the way they do, so I can design protocols, more focused to design protocols in that sense. And then obviously future, I would like to progress up the ladder. I'd become an R&D manager, and maybe even one day a director of R&D. But yeah, so I don't really have any limits of where I want to go. Some advice would be look outside into areas maybe you haven't thought of. For example, I now work in industry. However, I hadn't even considered working in industry until after I finished my master's, which might be considered quite late for some people, but I didn't know anything about it. And so after looking into a couple of jobs offered in industry and reading maybe a little bit about the company that I would have worked for if I'd applied for that job, it just kind of broadens your options. Obviously, it's really important to pick A-levels that you enjoy, but you also need to make sure they're focused maybe into an area that you might want to pursue. For me, for example, I didn't know what area I wanted to pursue at the time, so I felt that a broad range of the core subjects, such as I took English, chemistry, biology, because they were a good spread of core subjects, and then I took geography because I enjoyed it. But this enabled me to then focus on university choices because I had the maths from the chemistry, and then the biology, which was obviously my subject. I also had a good grounding in English, so the structure of my writing and grammar was okay, so that really helped in exams.
Awesome. Maybe you can throw in a Go Brighton or
No, sorry for that in, I beg your